Okay, so I'm always getting asked about back issues, lower back issues, more than anything else. Occasional neck issues too, those are a problem. Let me start off by saying that the American College of Sports Medicine several years back came out with a statement that said that most lower back issues are due to tight hamstrings. I found this true over and over again. If someone can get their hamstrings to release, lengthen, the back issues tend to just go away. Another thing you can do, which I've seen a lot of success with this too, is to get off of your chairs. You can get one of the giant exercise balls, sit on that when you're at the computer or doing whatever you do where you have to sit for a long time. That not only stabilizes your posture, but it takes that pressure off of your lower back from sitting in a chair that's not ergonomically correct. And even the ergonomically correct ones sometimes still have issues, but it forces your spine to be stacked like it's supposed to be, one vertebrae on the top of the other. Which brings me to another issue. When you're riding in cars, the RPMs in the car just happen to be the right RPMs to get everything kind of jiggling like this. And it's so tiny you don't notice it. But most car seats have the seats slanted back like this. Then you have the other part of the seat, the back, like this. And what this does, where you've got that curve in the lower part of your back, is it forces the vertebrae to be apart a little bit like this. Then you get those RPMs going and you're getting one side on both vertebrae rubbing closer to bone on bone. Sometimes if there's not a lot of stuff there, it literally will do bone on bone. One thing you can do to prevent this is to put a cushion, when the seat is like this, put a cushion back here to make it a flat surface and keep the back of the seat up like this. That keeps you in that position. You can also get the little backrest, little slight curved backrest to put behind your lower back to support it, especially if you have that sway back where the spine does this. Makes for a cute booty, but it makes for some problems with the lower back too. Okay, getting in and out of a car can be another problem. When you turn to get out of a car like this, you're torquing the lower back. So what you do is when you stop, you turn the whole body to the side, drop the feet out the door, then support yourself when you get in or get out. But same thing getting in. You want to start with your booty in the car and then sit on the seat, then turn. This happens all the time in other situations. I know a lot of people who are doing great. They reach to get something. When they turn and torque their back, bam, it goes out. It pops something. If you're relaxed all the time, you're not going to have these issues most likely. But how many people are relaxed aside from me all the time? It's just not going to happen in a lot of cases. I very much advocate for everybody doing your meditation and being relaxed. It prevents a lot of injuries. But in the real world, unless you meditate a lot like I do or something, won't happen. You can also take adaptogens to help, but that's getting into the herbal thing. And there are a lot of herbs that you can use. Come see me. I'll be happy to get you some. Just set an appointment. As far as supplements, about a third of the people, if they have arthritis, get a lot of help from the glucosamine chondroitin with MSM. You can try it. $20. See if it works. It takes about 3 to 4 weeks to notice a difference, but a lot of people have come back and told me it was a miracle. Yay! That could be all it takes. I'm advocating for anything that works. As far as positioning also, another big problem is, especially with women or men that cook a lot or clean, when you clean, wash dishes and stuff, you tend to lean over the cabinet, over the counter, over the sink, over the stove, wherever you happen to be for a while. This is a problem because it's compromising the lower back. You're getting a bend like this. You need to, when you lean, bend like this. The way I found that works the best is either open the cabinet door under where you're at, put your foot on that little ledge. It's usually about 4 to 6 inches off the ground. Just put your toe there, rest one foot on that ledge. What that does, it forces the center of gravity to a different place, so then when you bend, you can bend correctly. Remember, if you're bending like this, once again, the spine is doing this. It's wreaking havoc on these muscles on either side. It's going to be bad. And even if you've got a good back, you sit there and make soup or something that's very intensive, you're going to end up with a backache. You can also take things that are anti-inflammatory. I'm not an advocate for things like ibuprofen and Advil and stuff. Even Tylenol, that wreaks havoc on your gut. All of them do. I strongly recommend turmeric or turmeric, whichever way you want to pronounce it, but you need to have pepper with it. There's also a lot of other anti-inflammatories out there. Turmeric is the most popular. There's ginger. I could go on and on and on. There are a lot of herbs. You can also find anti-inflammatory mixes in supplements. Just make sure they're good quality and organic. Okay. As far as sleeping positions, the latest research I've seen, and I keep up with the research, says that you should sleep on your back if you can. But if you've got back issues, you want to have a pillow that's not very high, because you don't want your neck doing this crazy bendy thing. That's going to put pressure on the neck right there. So you want a low pillow. Make sure it's a good pillow. And then you want a pillow under your knees. This forces the back into a good position. If you sleep on your side, I know a lot of people can't sleep on their back. If you're a side sleeper, make sure your pillow is as tall as your shoulder, because you want to make sure you're not sleeping like this, because then, once again, compromising the neck. So, you're sleeping on your side with a pillow that's lining your neck up, and then you can use something like this. This is just a little cheap pillow you can buy. You can use a regular pillow. No reason to buy anything. These I sell for like $10. But one knee goes here and the other knee underneath, and it forces your leg into a position where your hip bones are here, your knees are here, and then your ankles will line up if your knees are lined up. Otherwise, you've got your hip bones here, your knees here, and your legs coming down in an angle like this. And of course, that's going to put pressure on this hip because it's too long in that IT band area, or down here it's too short, and it puts pressure on your knee joints, which can cause knee issues too later, because then you've got a knee doing this, and then down here at your feet you've got the knees coming together here and the feet here, and it just makes it all awkward because that pulls more pressure on the hip. Okay, so you can also use the obvious things, the heating pad, the cooling pad. You can alternate. Make sure you don't stay on cold too long because it can damage tissue. Same thing with the heat. If it's too high, if you stay on it too long, once again, it can damage tissue. You want to make sure your mattress is good. It's obvious, but you can firm it up with different things. Some people will put like plywood under their mattress, between the springs and the mattress, things like that. Whatever works there. You want to make sure your posture is good. This is a biggie. So you want your feet to be hip width apart. That means if you're standing on your feet and they're bare, you twist and you can barely touch the insole with your middle toe from this toe, and then you rotate it back out. Make sure they're pointing straight ahead. That puts your feet at an ideal hip width apart. Then you want to make sure the ankle bone is stacked with the knee bone, which is stacked with the hip bone. This is from the side, which is stacked with the shoulder, which should line up with the ear. Normally, that means people need to roll their shoulders all the way back as far as you can go, then drop it down. That's your position you should be in. Then you want to pull your chin back so your neck and spine are in one perfect line. You also probably need to tuck your belly. That's something else that can go wrong. Let's see, diet. I recommend for most people the Mediterranean diet. You want to look for anything that may cause inflammation. One of the biggies is nightshades. A lot of people are sensitive to nightshades. Everything that you already know. No processed foods. You don't want to do a lot of sugar. You don't want any of the processed fats. Just common sense. But your diet can make a huge difference in how your joints feel. Huge, huge difference. Your weight. If you're overweight, bigger chance you're going to have back problems. That's just part of the whole thing. I know I'm preaching to the choir. Everybody knows these things, but not everyone is working to help themselves, so to speak. So that is part of the whole thing. You want to watch that. Another thing that I had read about, and I have tried it myself because I've got a back injury from when I was 18, so I've dealt with this for however many years, a lot of years. 65, that's a lot of years. Anyhow, a lot of the literature says that part of the back pain is fear. It's not that it's psychological, it's that the same exact nerve hits the same exact place in the brain. And so you've got the brain totally confused. It doesn't know if it's stress, it doesn't know if it's pain, it doesn't know if it's fear. They all hit that same place. So you have to work on that. You want to make sure that whatever is causing fear, if you're afraid of getting old and not being able to move well, if you're afraid of anything, you want to consciously close your eyes, concentrate, and find that thing you're afraid of, and imagine it melting away. It sounds silly, but your back immediately starts feeling better when you do it. Then, once you get the fear gone, you work on the back pain. Close your eyes, concentrate on where that pain is, and try to melt it away as much as possible. Anytime you're working with pain, you're not going to get 100% with any one thing. It's a game of percentages. You want to get as many of your boxes checked as you can possibly get checked. The more boxes you check, the less pain you have. A lot of people are able to take it away without herbs, without drugs, without anything, just using some of these things. Just makes sense. Meditation is amazing, absolutely amazing. I'm putting more videos on each day, and so there should be, after a while, quite a few meditations you can do. The more often you do one meditation, as many days in a row as you can, preferably 40. That's the yogi part of me. But if you can do 40 days, you'll notice a shift in your energy if it's the same meditation. Even if it's a different meditation every day, you're going to see a difference. But learning to meditate means that you can pull the brain part out of the pain. Not right at first, but the more you do it, the more you're going to be able to do that. Because you also have a neural connection in there in the brain. The pain's not just a physical thing in your back. You've also formed a connection up here. You need to make that connection disappear. You can do it several ways. Meditation is one. You can imagine something like a balloon popping over your head. Pull the pain out, put it in a balloon, let it pop and disappear. You can imagine a big bullet coming in and shooting the pain away. There are a jillion ways you can do it. But the thing is, you want to stop your brain from going point A to point B, point A to point B. Point A, the pain. If you can take it to point Z instead, boom. That connection right here will eventually go away or die down to where it's not an automatic pain exacerbation. Pain exacerbation. Hope that makes sense. A couple of exercises that I recommend: spinal flex, which is like cat-cow. And I always tell my clients, just imagine you're a crash test dummy. And there's 3 different hand and knee positions I use. And so I'll turn to the side and show you. And so just imagine that crash test dummy. Head goes back, slow motion. Forward. Back curves. And then back to the original position. The first hand position is the hands on the knees together. And do that about 30 times. Then knees apart, hands on the knees, same movement, 30 times. Finally, knees apart, hands between the knee. If you're in a chair, you can just grab the seat between your legs. And same movement. It's called a spinal flex. And each movement is going to concentrate a little more on each individual area in the back. Another one is Sufi grind. Be careful with it. But basically, you imagine you've got 2 parts of your body. Your hips here, your chest here. And just like a pepper grinder or something, you're going to circle the chest around the hip, holding the hip still, just the chest moving. You'll notice it feels good. This is wonderful for your digestion. Wonderful. It's like kneading your intestines. It helps push the food through. So you'll do at least 1 minute each way, each day. And you'll notice your lower back will start feeling better. The last one I'll go over right now is a piriformis stretch. It also helps stretch that psoas muscle. So you're going to cross one leg over the other. You want to avoid joints here, which means that you're going to offset the ankle from the knee. You don't ever want to put pressure on a joint. Then imagine, actually I've got a string. Imagine a string going from your chest, pulling the chest up as high as it'll go, and then make sure your neck and your spine are in one line, and just straight over, bending only at the hip, and only go as far as you're comfortable going. Eventually, you'll be able to go all the way down. That could be years in the future. Right now, just go as far as you can. Remember, this is the deepest muscle in your body. That means it's going to take a long time to release. Prepare to be there about 2 minutes or more. You want to feel that very subtle release in the hip area. Do it every day, both sides. And that's going to make a difference, and you'll probably feel it right where it hurts. Anyhow, that's all I can think of right now. I will see you later. Thank you. Bye.